Guys, I am now officially ready for some serious Intel power, and by that I mean I at least own a suitable motherboard for all the testing I've planned on doing. In this video, I'll be unboxing the brand new ASRock Z590 PG Velocita or Velocita, and we'll take a quick look at the features it has to offer. Of course, I will also show you the BIOS. So this by no means is an in-depth review of any kind, it's clearly more of an overview just to let you all know right away before getting your hopes up high. And now for those of you that haven't actively followed Intel's partially confusing roadmap, right now we're sitting at the 10th generation, codenamed Comet Lake. In the very near future, Team Blue will however grace us with their 11th gen processors, going by the name of Rocket Lake. Instead of 10 cores we were used to, according to the latest information out there, we'll only be getting 8 cores, so a whopping 2 less for the flagship offering. So if this really turns out to be true, this in my humble opinion can only be some sort of quick stop for Intel before they get their real deal released. Chances are looking good for Intel though. With Rocket Lake, they will likely reclaim their gaming crown. The aspect they will most likely remain the underdog is multi-core performance. AMD Ryzen 5000 will probably still lead in that area for now. But enough speculations, today it's all about this new motherboard by ASRock, which at the time of this video would set you back about $290 US. The pricing is steep, but we're also getting a lot for our money, so let's dive in. Right away we are being greeted by the board itself. We'll take a look at it a bit later though. First let's focus on the accessories, and man, there's a lot of it. As usual, a detailed user manual, a software setup guide, as so often, an ASRock postcard, whoever is going to use one, #no judgment. The driver CD, which I would highly advise against using, get the latest drivers from ASRock's website instead. And then there also are some nice stickers, 2 Velcro straps. Now finally a gimmick I for once find quite exciting, a motherboard PCB keyring. Very nice indeed. Interestingly, we are also getting included a small VRM fan meant for cooling the MOSFETs and the likes, more on that later. And this, my friends, at first glance may appear like a simple old USB 2.0 extension bracket. Well, in all fairness, it is, but the idea behind it is, with that one we can have our ports for wireless dongles and the likes further away from all the rest, such as antennas, reducing 2.4 GHz interference for instance. This smells a whole lot like gimmick, yes, but I'm certainly not complaining about 2 extra USB ports. Also included are 2 SATA 6 gigabit per second cables. Unfortunately, only 2. The days we got 4 of these apparently are gone. One really amazing idea by ASRock, on the other hand, is to include that graphics card holder. That one you simply screw directly to the board and then perfectly adjust and support the weight of your super heavy graphics card to avoid sagging. Awesome. We also happen to get another bracket for another little fan, a slightly bigger one though. Such is not included however. This does tend to bring back flashbacks of screaming chipset fans for me, but also could be an indication of overclocking potential those power-hungry 14nm plus CPUs could come with. Needless to say, M.2 screws, along with standoffs, cannot be missing. Last but not least, 2 Wi-Fi antennas, but rest assured, Bluetooth is on board as well. But now let's focus on the beauty itself, the ASRock Z590 PG Velocita. And man, what a few! I sure gotta admit, whether you're into the whole black, red, grey or silver color scheme, aesthetically, this sure is a nice treat of a motherboard. And right off the bat, one can tell it's a high quality model when holding it. Now let's fly over the features real quick. This board supports not only Intel's 10th gen CPUs, but also upcoming 11th generation. The socket LGA 1200, after all, remains the same. According to ASRock, we are looking at a beefy 14 phase power design. Now I would love to go into detail here, but I would rather not, since I don't consider myself qualified enough to make fixed statements on the layout. Either way, the power delivery at first glance appears great with 60 amp power chokes and the 50 amp MOSFET layout. For the chipset, Intel's latest and greatest flagship named Z590 comes into play. Unlike with the equivalent AMD flagship chipset X570, active cooling, therefore a fan, is not necessarily a must. Some of you will be shocked to find out, though, that ASRock still decided to place at least one fan somewhere on the board. They've integrated a fan inside the VRM heatsink. Optionally, we can also mount another little fan to the second neighboring heatsink. But no need to worry, every single mini fan on the board can completely be disabled within the BIOS. The upper two heatsinks, by the way, are connected by a heat pipe. As we are used to, 4 memory slots for dual-channel operation. For 10th gen CPUs, a maximum of 4666 MHz is stated. For the new 11th generation, we are talking of a max of 4800 MHz. Things are a bit chaotic on the PCI Express side of things. On board are 3 PCIe 4.0 x16 slots, along with a single 3.0 x1 slot. The x16 slots all feature ASRock's steel reinforcement. With CPUs of the 10th generation, we'll only be able to make use of PCIe 3.0. With Rocket Lake, the 11th gen processors, we now finally get full PCIe 4.0 support with Intel. We are talking of double the bandwidth, so perfect for the fastest NVMe SSDs out there. And while we are at it, we are being offered a total of 3 M.2 M-key slots, of which one is only based on PCIe 4.0 x4, therefore offering 64 gigabits per second of bandwidth. The remaining 2 slots share lanes with SATA 6 gigabit per second. So as so often, with specific constellations, some of our ports will end up disabled. The board is equipped with 6 SATA 6 gigabit per second ports with support for RAID 0, 1, 5 and 10. For every possible use case out there, all M.2 slots feature heatsinks. Let's talk networking. We're not only getting the classic 1 gigabit per second Ethernet LAN port based on the Intel i219V chip, but also an additional killer E3100G solution offering us 2.5 gigabits per second. Furthermore, there's also onboard Wi-Fi thanks to that killer AX1675X module Wi-Fi 6E along with dual band support, O and Bluetooth 5.2. Audio-wise, ASRock, just like most motherboard manufacturers, goes with the respected Realtek ALC1220 7.1 8-channel onboard solution. The PCB in the audio section happens to be isolated, shielded from the rest of the board. On top of that, there are individual PCB layers for the left and right audio channels and, of course, automatic impedance sensing for our headphones, for instance. The remaining features, or rather connections/ports, are, besides the 24-pin ATX power connector, there's not just one 8-pin, but a total of 2 8-pin power connectors for the CPU, a CPU fan header, another one even suited for pumps, one header for that little VRM fan, along with a total of 5 chassis fan/pump fan headers. At the top, there also happen to be one 5V ARGB as well as one 12V RGB, onboard power and reset buttons, then USB 3.2 Gen 1, USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, one angled USB 3.2 Gen 1 header, front panel motherboard speaker headers, a debug LED, TPM, one USB 2.0, another pair of a single 5V ARGB and 12V RGB headers, Thunderbolt AIC header, and last but not least, front panel HD audio. Top-notch feature set is what I can tell you here. The pricing of the Z590 PG Velocita may be high, but from a technical perspective, in my opinion, ASRock sure does deserve praise here. Of course, no one's telling you to get yourselves such an over-the-top board. There certainly are cheaper alternatives out there. But for those of you on the hunt for a proper high-end solution, you're making a pretty good choice with this specific motherboard. I'm really looking forward to testing those upcoming new Intel CPUs with this one. With that being said, I hope you've somewhat enjoyed this overview, and thanks for watching. Until next time.